Today I'm going to be reviewing the APC backup UPS that runs on lithium-ion battery, and the model number is BGE50ML. Alright, so let's open it up and check it out. Manual, the battery pack, the unit, it's got a USB port on the front, connector for the battery on the back, and on the rear of the unit we got two AC ports. This is the circuit breaker reset and the power plug. Let's see what we got inside this box. Power cable, USB cable, I'm not sure what that is. Maybe a mount for the unit. 4 legs, I guess. The battery has a docking port on the back here. Then we go into the unit port right there. Let's see if I can push it in like that. That's it. And it's easily removable. So basically this unit is just an inverter that converts DC current from your lithium-ion battery pack into an AC current on the back here, and it's designed for low power device only, like a modem or a wireless router, and that's it. And I guess that's why we have two outlets here, one for the modem and one for the wireless router. Traditionally our UPS used to be something like this. It's big, it's heavy, and it runs on lead acid batteries. Now, of course this one is more powerful, a lot more powerful, but still with the lead acid battery it weighs a lot more than the lithium-ion power pack. And now with a lithium-ion power pack, not only is it smaller, it's also removable, so it makes it very convenient. And you can remove this unit and you can plug in your phone and charge your phone or any USB power device. The battery pack got two USB ports. One is 2.4 amp, the other one is 1 amp, and it's got a power button here, so you can, when you press on it, will show you how much juice you got on the battery pack. Got my phone here. Let's plug it in, see if it would charge my phone. There we go, it's charging. That's the 1 amp port. Let's try the 2.4 amp port. There we go. On the box it says 50 watts, 11,400 milliamp hour. The 50 watt rating is the maximum capacity this unit can run. Okay, so usually when you run a router and the modem, each of them usually run about 10 to 15 watts to a total around 20 to 30 watts, and the capacity is based on lithium-ion battery. I believe inside this battery pack we got a few of these, and the capacity is 11,400 milliamp hour. That is 11.4 amp hour. If you take that, multiply 4 volts, this is 3.7 volt, but let's use 4 volts to make it even easier to do the calculation. 4 times 11.4, we got around 45 watt hour, about 45 watt hour, this battery pack. So if you run both your modem and your router at the same time, they consume, let's say, around 20 watt hour. That means you can run your modem and router for about 2 hours, give or take. Depends on what kind of router and modem you have, but I would say around 2 hours. And I will try to do an actual test on my modem and router right now. Let's see how much juice I got. I got 3 bars. So let me plug it in and fully charge the battery. I'm going to do a test. Do a runtime test to see how long it would last on my modem and router. Alright, I got it plugged in. We got an orange kind of amber light. And I assume that means nothing is plugged in on the back here, I guess. Let me put the battery in and charge the battery. Okay, so you can see there. That means it's charging, blinking light here, and this turns green. Alright. On the box, it says 2.5 hours to fully charge this battery pack, and it's about I would say about 60% now, so I assume maybe around an hour to fully charge the battery from this point. I'll be right back. Alright, my battery pack is now full, but first I need to know how much power my modem and my router consume. So I plug them all in a single cable. So this one is my modem, that one is for my router, and they all go out to my kilowatt meter, and currently they consume about 13 watts of power. Now that I know that both my router and my modem consume a total of 13 watts of power, I already plugged in the power to both of the devices. Okay, now it runs through the APC backup UPS. Now I'm going to simulate a power outage by unplugging the power from my APC system. Alright, the APC system is unplugged. This outlet goes to my modem and my router, and the APC UPS unit is now blinking green light, showing that it is running power straight from the battery. Right, I'm going to let it run, and I have my my phone here, and I'm going to time to see how long it would last. Let's start now. I'll be right back when it runs out of juice. Right, the unit has just completely turned off. We're at about 2 hours 8 minutes. So it runs a little bit over 2 hours, and that's it. The bottom of the unit does get quite warm. See how warm it is. 42 degrees Celsius. 43 degrees Celsius. That's quite warm. Partly because I didn't remove the protective film. So let's remove it right now. There's a glossy plastic film on the unit, and it's blocking the vent, makes it hot. So make sure you remove the plastic cover before you use it, otherwise you'll get quite warm. Let's see how warm the battery is. Battery is warm too. Wow. Especially in the back here where there's no vent. The back is completely sealed off. Wow, 44 degrees Celsius. 45 Celsius. Maximum here, we got 45.6 Celsius. That's quite warm. That's not good for the battery. 43. Well, of course, today is a hot day. It's summer, and today is a hot day. Air temperature is around 90 degrees Fahrenheit. So that adds to the insult. And let's see how much juice is left on the battery. Or maybe, yeah, I completely empty the battery, which is not good for lithium ion. Hopefully it's got a protective circuit in here that prevents it from going too low. Let me do some calculation and show you some numbers here. This battery pack here is rated at 41 watt hour, 41.2, 41 watt hours. Okay. And the load I have on this battery is 13 watts, right? Runtime I have is 2 hours. So total power use is 26 watt hour, right? And the rating of this is 41 watt hour. So the efficiency I got out of this battery pack is 63%, which is pretty lame, isn't it? Because this inverter here, the backup unit, runs a little bit inefficient, so I want to find out what kind of inverter it is. Is it sine wave or is it a square wave inverter? So I have my oscilloscope here, and let's see what we got. So what I have here is a suicide cord. It's one end got a plug, the other end is open wire, exposed wire. I'm going to plug this into the APC unit. Don't try this at home, folks. This can kill you. Okay, it's in. Let's see what kind of voltage we got here. 119 volts AC. Alright. This unit here gives out 120 volts output, even though there's nothing plugged in the back of the unit. So the inverter is always on, no matter if you plug it in or not. Alright, got my oscilloscope ready, and let's turn it on. Okay, let's see what we got here. So these wires are live. 120 volts AC right now. I'll try another touch it. Okay, change some setting on my scope here. There we go. You see here it's got a beautiful pure sine wave. But the bad news is this comes straight from the grid, from my outlet. So the unit is right now is not running on the battery power. It's got a pass through current that goes from my outlet straight out to the output. So right now I'm going to simulate a blackout by unplugging the wire on the back of my APC power unit here, and that's when it's actually turned on the inverter. And let's see what kind of sine wave we got. Alright, unplug. And it is a square wave, as you can see there. See the light blinking on the APC backup unit. You can see the wave here. It's a square wave. It's very square. You see there? Down, straight down, and then straight across, and then straight up. It is a square wave. Right, let me zoom in more closely so you can see how square that wave is. It's absolutely square, as opposed to the pure sine wave you saw earlier. And that's one thing I noticed, is that the output on the back of the APC unit is always on. It doesn't matter if it's plugged in the outlet or not. In this case, it's not plugged in the outlet, and it just automatically gives the output to the back of the APC unit. That's why we got the power coming out of my wire here. So it doesn't matter if it's on or if it's plugged in or not plugged in. When the unit is on, when this light is on, you always have output to the back of the unit. So the inverter is always on, unless you turn it off. So turn by pressing this button here. Now it's off. Now there will be no output. But once you turn it on, you have to press and hold the power button. Once you turn it on, it will automatically give out the output to the back of the APC backup unit. So now we know why it runs so inefficient. A pure sine wave inverter will run a lot more efficient than a modified or square wave inverter. Usually for a modified wave inverter, because of a higher harmonic distortion, motors and other electronics will run hotter, less efficient, and consume up to 30% more energy than with a pure sine wave inverter. So that's why we only get about 63% efficiency out of this UPS. The runtime could have been a lot more than 2 hours if it was a pure sine wave inverter. The battery is removable, which seems to be cool, but I don't see the point of removing the battery for this unit. If it is so important to have your network up and running all the time, especially during a blackout, then what's the point of removing the battery? It's like buying a car insurance half of the time, and you just have to pray you don't get into an accident the other half of the time. It just doesn't work that way. In conclusion, this is an innovative product. If you have internet, there's no excuse of getting one of these. Because if you have a blackout and have no power, your internet is probably still working most of the time. But since you have no power to run your modem and router, you're still offline. So this is still a good product for this purpose, even though the battery life could have been better. Most blackout would last for less than an hour. But sometimes, if the blackout lasts for more than 2 hours, this device would be useless. And if it is very important and imperative for you to have your internet all the time, no matter what happened, then you're gonna need something that lasts longer than 2 hours. Or maybe I can tear down this battery and find out what's inside. Maybe I can hack it and probably install a bigger battery to make it last longer. Maybe. Until then, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.